My name is Noor, and I'm 28 years old. I grew up in a small town with my parents and two younger brothers. Our family wasn't perfect, but we were close, and I always believed that love could fix anything. Fast forward to today, and here I am, trying to rebuild my relationship with my partner, Adam. We've been together for 5 years, and it's safe to say that our bond has been tested in ways I never imagined. You see, growing up, I always believed in the fairy tale. I thought that finding the right person would mean happily ever after. But what I didn't expect was the overwhelming weight of life's challenges, the kind that slowly, silently eats away at the foundation of a relationship. I'm no expert on relationships, but I've learned a lot the hard way. This is the story of how I've been trying to fix a broken relationship with someone I still love deeply. I hope my journey helps you understand that sometimes, it's not the love that fades, it's everything else around it. It all started 2 years ago, on a quiet evening after dinner. Adam and I had just finished cleaning up the kitchen. We were sitting on the couch, watching a movie, when he suddenly turned to me, his face unreadable. I noticed the distant look in his eyes. Something was off. "I think we need to talk," he said, his voice steady but tinged with sadness. I could feel my heart sink before the words even left his mouth. At first, I thought it was about something trivial, maybe a misunderstanding or a simple disagreement. But as he continued, I realized that this wasn't going to be an easy conversation. Adam told me that he felt distant from me, that the connection we once shared had faded, and he wasn't sure if we could fix it. I was shocked. We had always been open with each other, so to hear him say this felt like a slap in the face. How could he feel that way? I hadn't noticed anything that drastic. My mind raced as I tried to process the weight of his words. Was this the end? Over the next few weeks, the tension in our relationship continued to grow. We were still living under the same roof, but it felt like we were two strangers occupying the same space. Conversations became awkward, and the love that once felt so natural was now clouded by doubts and silence. We tried to talk things through, but nothing seemed to make a difference. Adam was distant, and I felt like I was doing everything I could to hold us together, but the harder I tried, the more he pulled away. It became clear that it wasn't just about one argument or one bad day. It was years of miscommunication, unspoken frustrations, and unmet needs that had been building up. I tried to keep up with my daily routine, but everything felt off. I couldn't concentrate at work, and I found myself constantly thinking about our relationship. What had gone wrong? Had we grown apart without even realizing it? The pressure of trying to keep things normal was unbearable, and soon, I was facing a personal crisis. I felt isolated and unsure of who I could turn to. There were 2 moments that shook me to my core during this time, moments that made me question everything I thought I knew about love and relationships. The first happened one evening when I came home early from work. I walked into the living room to find Adam sitting alone, his face buried in his phone. I noticed that he seemed a little too absorbed in it, like he was avoiding something. When I asked what he was looking at, he hesitated before showing me a message. It wasn't from anyone specific, but the content was something I hadn't expected. He was searching for ways to cope with his emotions, and the language was something distant, cold, like he had already emotionally checked out. The second moment happened during a family gathering. Everyone was chatting, but Adam and I barely exchanged words. It was as if we were both pretending everything was okay, but underneath it all, we both knew we were just pretending. My younger brother asked us when we were getting married, something we had talked about for years, and Adam gave a vague answer, followed by a forced smile. I could feel the awkwardness in the air, and in that moment, I realized how deep our issues ran. I won't lie, during those dark days, I felt helpless. It's one thing to see your relationship fall apart, but it's another to realize that you may have contributed to its decline. I felt guilty for not seeing the warning signs earlier, for not paying enough attention to his needs, and for losing sight of the person I fell in love with. My emotions were a roller coaster: sadness, anger, frustration, and even fear of being alone. I cried more than I care to admit. I cried when I looked at old pictures of us, reminiscing about the good times. I cried because I didn't know how to fix things, or if they could even be fixed. There were nights when I questioned whether we should just call it quits, but deep down, I didn't want to. I wanted to fight for us. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that love isn't always enough. There were deep-rooted issues we needed to face, both individually and as a couple, and they weren't going to go away on their own. I wasn't sure if Adam and I were ready to face them together. The strain in our relationship didn't just affect us, it started to spill over into other parts of my life. My friends began noticing that I wasn't myself anymore. I was no longer the lively, optimistic person they had always known. My family began to worry, too, especially my parents. They had always been supportive of our relationship, and it hurt to see the concern in their eyes. But the hardest part was watching how it affected Adam's mental health. I could see how this was weighing on him, and it hurt me to know that we were both trapped in this emotional limbo. I couldn't help but wonder if the toll this was taking on us was worth it, or if we had reached a point where it was time to let go. As I sit here, reflecting on everything that's happened, I still don't have all the answers. Adam and I have made progress, but we're far from being in a place of certainty. The relationship is still fragile, and while there's love, there's also a lot of healing to do. We've been trying to communicate more openly, to understand each other's needs, but it's a slow and painful process. I still don't know if we'll make it through this storm, but one thing I've learned is that relationships require work, patience, and understanding. They're not always going to be easy, and sometimes the people you love need space to heal, even if that means taking a step back for a while. I wish I could give you a clear, happy ending, but the truth is, fixing a broken relationship isn't always that simple. Sometimes, you have to accept that the process is ongoing and that you'll have to keep working at it every day, whether or not you know where it's headed. If you've been through something similar, I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful or relatable. Remember, we're all in this together, and it's okay to take things one step at a time. Thank you for watching.